What's going on, guys? Apathettic here, and today we are finally got some Destiny gameplay footage. So gameplay premiere just ended. I'm gonna be going through it here and just kind of highlighting some of the things I noticed and things that I thought were really amazing about Destiny 2. So we got a lot to go through. Let's jump into it. So diving right into this gameplay, guys, the first thing you're gonna notice is that the HUD, as you can see here, not that different. Definitely looks very similar, but you'll notice if we look in the bottom left hand corner, this extra ability, which you'll see later and I'll highlight later, that allows us to either use a Rift of Empowerment, or I think it's like a Rift of Defense, something like that, that basically starts regenerating our health. You'll also notice, looking at the left hand side, that we have a looks like 2 primary slots. I'll go into that later, but I think that's another awesome change up that came to Destiny 2. But you're gonna see here, it still looks like Destiny. You're gonna see some crit hits, you know, same kind of weapon damage look. It still looks like we're using Foundry weapons, which is pretty cool. Got our super bar, orbs of light. Get our first look at the Bubble Titan in actual gameplay footage. And in a second here, you're gonna get to see the new kind of redone super for Arc and the new Defender of Super right there, where you get the shield, you can throw it, you can melee people. It looks super awesome. Allows you to change up your gameplay. There you go, Hunter with his new fancy staff, fucking shit up, dropping orbs of light. I love these new supers. I love that they're all roaming and that you can be kind of tailor your gameplay to it. Here you have the new Sunsinger super, them raining down fire, kind of reminds me of the Hammer Titan a lot. So all very offensive supers that allow you to really engage your opponents how you want to. Instead of being choosing the defender and being stuck in a bubble, I feel like there might be other avenues to where if I choose defender, there's different styles of play I can do. And I love this part coming up here. You got the robot sweeping away. That's a good fan favorite right there. Everybody loves it. Skipping a little ahead right now, you're gonna get to see our first look at the new heavy or power weapons in Destiny 2. And guys, if you look at this thing, holy shit, they look powerful. Like, these are what heavy weapons should really look like. I really love this. Here's the next thing that's really interesting. You're gonna see it. It's gonna be that Rift of Empowerment I was talking about. I think this one's gonna be called something different because it actually heals the player. And there you have it, Healing Rift. Very interesting. Actually allows the player to put down almost like kind of an AoE ability that heals them while they're inside this little circle, but if they leave it, it actually stops. And from what I understand from the tweets I've been seeing from streamers and YouTubers at the event, that ability is specific to Warlocks, which in my opinion makes them very, very powerful. And Warlocks are my favorite class, but damn, now I'm even more excited to start it in Destiny 2. Later you're going to see a Rift of Empowerment, which does the opposite, so it's kind of interesting / cool to see they have this own ability to buff themselves, but at the same time I'm kind of worried what that's going to look like in PvP. People who used it in PvP said it was very powerful, so we'll see how that works out. And here you can see those beautiful new cinematics that Bungie or Activision talked about in their earnings call. These cinematics have looked insane, guys. I love them. And this is very interesting. Look how beautiful this scenery is. You got the rain blowing in from the side, this huge minigun, these little pods dropping off this dropship. This looks awesome. We also get to see a host of new weapons. So again, you can see the Suros. So some of the old Foundry weapons still coming back, which is pretty cool. And one thing they added, which I really like here, is when a perk activates, so you're gonna see on the roll, your gun actually becomes illuminated more and more as it stacks. So not only do you see that perk pop up in your HUD, but you actually get a visual confirmation from the gun itself. I really like that addition. Cutting a little ahead, you get to see here the new grenade launcher. Looks like by Amalon, if you see on the little barrel chamber thing there. So big emphasis on the older Foundry weapons again. So Amalon, Suros, Hake, all those. It looks like they're going to be really focused on in this game. And jumping ahead a little bit, this is where you're going to see him do the Rift of Empowerment. So again, I think this gives some kind of damage buff as he pulls out the grenade launcher once again. You can see everything on his body is highlighted, showing he's probably doing more damage. Similar to when he had the on a roll perk activated, the gun was highlighted. Here we get our first look at like a yellow bar boss. That one looks pretty badass. This one in particular doesn't look like it has much mechanics, but I'm sure for demo it got the message across. Definitely pretty cool. I love the scenery in this. You got the rain blowing, there's a whole bunch going on. The graphics look incredible. And jumping into this next part, guys, you get to see all the new weapons and this sick armor. Like, wow, that Warlock armor looks sexy. But here we're gonna get a fresh look at a similar way the guns are laid out, but with a sidearm, you have a sidearm or a kinetic slot, an energy slot, and a power weapon slot. What this allows you to do is gives you more variety, because now instead of just having, you know, primary, special, and a heavy, now I can do two what are basically primaries and a power weapon, which is going to be your shotgun, grenade launcher, sniper rifle, rocket, minigun, anything like that. That's all going to be in your power weapon slot. So I like that change up. It gives you a lot more variety. So it also allows you to, instead of being stuck with just a hand cannon, you also go hand cannon and auto rifle. So that's nice. Also, something to note here is instead of intellect, discipline, strength, we have armor, agility, and recovery. From what I understand, that comes from your armor. And apparently we're also level 20 with 260 light, so a light system we know is still in place. So all things we're familiar with, which I kind of like, that it's still a somewhat familiar system. That I don't have to learn it all over again. Jumping into this next part here, you get to see the new names of our subclasses. So you got Dawnblade, or I don't know if this is the name of the abilities, but definitely a lot more roaming supers is what I'm finding. I love their abilities. It looks so much more powerful. It looks super badass. Just rain down fire on people. And then you got the Sentinel here, which you can throw your shield, kind of like in a Captain America type character. That's really the kind of vibe I get. It's just totally Captain America. Throw your shield. I mean, what else do you need? It's just ridiculous. It looks insanely powerful the way it bounces off people. And the Arc Strider. This looks sick. This staff looks so badass, and all the flips and kicks just looks way more intense, way more, has just way more depth to it, honestly. It just looks way more powerful. I'm really excited to get my hands on all these classes. So jumping back into the premiere, they talked about campaigns coming back. It says the longest campaign ever, most cinematics, and they call it the Red War campaign. So basically, just going to take you a bunch of different worlds. They also talked about the return of strikes, so strikes are coming back as well. And for Crucible, now it's going to be 4v4, and they have a new game mode where it's kind of attack and defend. So that's kind of a new interesting game mode. Definitely a nice look at competitive. Since they're adding game modes like that, tells me they're really focusing on competitive and really trying to change it up, then making it more style control and kind of taking the 6v6 down to 4v4. I think that's huge because, again, most competitive games are 4v4. Think about games like Halo in its prime, that was 4v4. And 6v6, there's just so much going on, and it's just really crazy, especially when you have things like supers and grenades. So I think 4v4 move was a good choice. Lastly, we have the return of raids. So raids are still gonna be a huge part of the game. Still the pinnacle of difficulty in the game. They obviously aren't going to show anything about that right now. They might do like a trailer like they typically do closer to its release. But at least we know for sure our first Cabal raid is going to be in Destiny 2. So that's pretty exciting. So for the new worlds, we're getting 4 new worlds, which are Nessus, Earth, Titan, and Io. And the cool thing about this is you don't have to go to orbit to go between worlds. Now you just choose a landing zone and then you just fly to that world, which is awesome. Another thing they talked about was lost sectors. So basically it's the idea of like a dungeon. So you'll be exploring like a certain planet, and there'll be an area called a lost sector you can explore where there's a loot of cash and a boss that holds the key to it. So it's another really cool way to get loot and at the same time kind of explore these worlds. And they kind of redid the map so you'll know when like things like public events or these lost sectors are going to be going on. So you kind of keep in touch with that without having to miss them too much. It's a really cool way to explore these new worlds. From the images I've saw, they look super big and super explorable, which I'm really excited for. So they talked a little bit about clans as well, and they mentioned something to the effect that whether you play a lot or don't play that much, you basically can earn rewards together with your clan. So I think it's something similar to clan leveling, which is really cool because for some people who play with their clans, they sometimes feel left out, or like, you know, they don't get to enjoy some of the rewards that their clan mates do. So it's a good way to kind of grow and earn rewards together. So I really like this idea. Now, a really interesting thing they added was guided games. Now what this allows you to do is if you're a solo player, you kind of see clans that need maybe an additional person for a raid or trials, and you can actually choose to join up with them to kind of jump into a raid. So as someone who was once a solo player like myself, this is amazing. I remember feeling so left out because I had no one to do raids with, no one to do trials with, so you just feel like you're missing out on a large portion of the game. So I think this is a great way to get people included and to get to experience some of the best features of Destiny. And lastly guys, to finish up the conference, they talked about how the PC version of Destiny is going to be available on Battle.net through Blizzard, which is pretty awesome because I've heard some great things about their servers. They also have some great anti-cheat stuff in place, and they use dedicated servers from my understanding. So that's a lot of things to like for Destiny 2 being on Battle.net. They also mentioned the beta being in the summer. There's no official date on that either. Lastly, from reading through Twitter and seeing a lot of streamers and YouTubers in there, they talked about how the PC version is going to has uncapped frame rates, while the console version is capped at 30 frames per second. So that's kind of a big deal for me because I really like having as smooth a frame rate as possible. And they said the PC version actually might come out later than the console version, so I might end up getting both. Haven't really decided yet, gonna wait for the official word on that. That's all I got for the video today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this breakdown. I'm excited. I hope you're super excited. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Let me know down below which class you're most excited to play, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.